So do I need to bring that up on the next?
Yeah, you do that under
And just bring it up.
Hey.
Oh, I have notes from that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was just really Robbie has an actually nationwide on the ice
No, I hope I didn't end the meeting. I went live. Hold on, Alt P.
Are you ready to record?
No,
He's hanging out.
I know what you're saying.
Always
So we can get started.
well, I got, yeah. For some reason, I've already let him in.
He left.
Oh, he left.
Oh,
He got bored and left. Now you can get one back.
you're gonna drink water.
Get the service meeting going for February 27th, 6:01 p.m. Do roll call.
Cosgray,
Present.
Foreman,
Present.
Schaffner.
Present.
Yes, we also have council member Charlie Reedy, Brandon Prairie, Mayor, Village Administrator, and Brian Dover, the fiscal officer. Need a motion for the approval of the minutes for our minutes.
Before we make the motion to approve the written.
Shuffle seconds.
Got a motion properly made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. So we'll go to, okay. There it is. All right. That's my time now. The approval of the minute. Start with the visitors.
Yeah, we can do our third release for the sign presentations. And we do that.
There's no,
Yeah.
All right, so we can start with the visitors. We've got Mr. Jaden Smith and Steve Kenny.
Steve's just visiting. Right?
yes.
Nothing to speak about, Steve.
Jaden Smith, you have something for the committee?
So for a school project, it's a leadership class, so we have to create a community service project that will benefit either school, the community. For my project, I noticed one day driving to school that the signs that direct people to the high school actually say high school and middle school. And as much as middle school is no longer at that location. And on top of that, the signs are very outdated. They have a really old look. And then, of course, they direct people in the wrong direction. So I propose that we kind of revamp the signs, put new words on them, a new design, and I have that all written out and planned. I shared that as a slideshow with Mr. Bibler. All the costs and everything, I do have that. That is also, I believe, the dimensions and everything like that were included in the slideshow as well. The cost, I was told, will go to you guys. And then the signs will be applications into town, coming west, going over the railroad tracks just before Washington Street. That's the one sign. There's another sign at the intersection in front of Schaffner's. And then there's a light post or an electrical pole in front of Schaffner's as well that we could add an additional sign so you can see it going both ways.
So I got 3 signs. Is there any other places that you've been doing where we could benefit from an additional sign?
I think from visitors, like people coming for sports or people coming to visit our school, the main roads that they really take would be 158, 256, and then they'll turn either right in front of the school on 256 or onto Washington Street from 158. I think those three signs would be the most beneficial. Middle school and elementary don't really, in my opinion, really need signs since we've got off of easy to notice. The high school will have on 256 we'll have one facing each direction, so either way we'll be able to notice. And then on 158 we could put an additional sign right after the bridge going north. So people traveling north will know that the school is that way as well.
Wondering, like going north and south, if you're coming in from the north, you get the one right there.
I've been
Mill,
flagged down on Water Street twice within the last month, asking where the high school is.
but if you're coming in from the south, would it be beneficial to put one
Sure, on the other side.
somewhere else on this side of, well, I guess it's that side of Main Street?
And for sporting events and whatnot, we do have a larger elderly population that come and support. And most of that population may not use GPSs and they still use their maps and street signs. So if a street sign, they're going to a middle school game and the street sign says middle school this way.
You know, actually, now that you said it, it makes a lot of sense. Like when I was walking the dogs, someone said, I'm going to the middle school. Where is it? And I'm like, it's over there. Now it makes sense why they were at the high school and stopped me. It says,
So you've been propositioned on where they're at as well.
yes, no, yes. So
I think there's a need, when he came to me to ask how to go about talking to us about this, and I'm the one that suggested him here. And I was just thinking that, yeah, it makes sense, and I was just wondering if we could just turn it over and let him work with the street administrator to make sure they're safely located, and I don't think it really require a lot of effort.
I think so, because we've already got appropriations for signs. So at that point, it's literally just getting them printed and installed.
I think so. Did you reach out to anybody on building the signs at all? I know you said pricing you didn't, but the actual sign itself, did you reach out to anybody on that?
Do you mean like companies or within? I didn't reach out to any companies because the person I was contacting at the time was Terry Wise. So we were talking a lot about that. And then I was supposed to get her design, and then of course, whatever happened. And so I never got a response from that.
Right.
But we talked about after I got the design and the dimensions, she would take all that and send it off to whatever company the city uses.
Okay, I'll take that over myself, so.
So it sounds like he's got the layout.
Yeah,
He
it's
just
looking
decided
at the
for us.
picture, I think,
Yeah.
yeah. So that is what you want. I just didn't see a dimension on these. I don't believe it. Is it? Is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Centimeters, okay. Okay, that'll work.
I was just thinking, after him and I were talking originally and everything since then, possibly 6 signs. Okay, one coming in and out of town on 256 each ways. One coming in and out of town on 158 as well. You know, at that intersection by the mill, right there, yeah, Water Street, that makes sense.
Now I got to see. Well, it depends on where you put it on 256 coming in. Because if you put one right at the edge of the village, which isn't the worst thing in the world to do, and then at Shoppers, each direction from each way pointing in, that's 4. You get 5, 6 coming in from the north and south on 158.
And 7 would be
7, 8, if you're going both ways.
Well, and then you get a sign pointing this way from both directions is 7, 8, and then, well, 8. Call it 9 with the one at Water Street. They missed. You can always hit here. The good thing is these signs aren't terribly expensive based on their size. So
Total is 9.
that sounds right.
Better make it 10.
So this, yeah, I do have on there. Yeah, so
Logo. Thank you.
just a generic always sign with black lettering and then a red arrow.
Good idea. You'll have to work with Tim here to make sure when we get the arrows that they're all pointed the right way.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want them all going one way. Okay, and I know Brian, I think I got a copy of it on this email, so I will get with you when I reach out to the sign company, and then we'll probably, once we get them ordered, get pricing on them, we'll get them ordered, and then make sure the arrows are going the right way, and maybe Tim Boucher can go out and we know exactly where we're taking.
You guys need anything else from me?
Good idea.
Thank you very much.
Yep, appreciate it.
You're more than welcome to stay, but we don't require anybody to speak to stay any longer than they have to. So you're welcome to stay and see what happens in the rest of the committee, but you're also a high school student. If you got other things to attend to, we won't take offense.
Totally understand.
We totally understand.
On from to, follow the agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a great idea. Thank you.
Before we get into things, does anybody have any, additions they want to, put on the agenda? Any changes that you want to consider? We go on to the goals of the fire stand for street water department, wastewater treatment. And budget.
I am working on that vigorously. I've done a lot of research through our share folder, Terry Wise's old computer and things like that. And I found a couple things that's in progress, not finished, and I hate to keep stretching that one out, but I gotta do more research to find out exactly where it was and what the goal is. And myself and maybe Mayor, if you and I can maybe convene sometime before the next meeting and make sure that I'm on the right page to get this out to council.
Move on to the road report. Which department?
Let me get first. Or go it all? Okay. Go it all? That's all me. Okay, wastewater treatment plant was waiting on 2 more pieces of equipment to get the maintenance claims to be completed in the system. We did receive those at the end of last week. So we're going to try to make a plan to get those installed here in the next few weeks, so we can be done with that system, get the maintenance claims done. We're going to start claims. I think he's wanting to start those. He's changing membranes around tomorrow. Get those claims, the hypo done, and then we'll go right onto acid after that on 2 trains, and then we'll schedule the next 2 after that. Our flood hauling, I don't know. It's still on hold. We've got to get these bags out. We've actually reached out to another company, but it's been the fields that we're trying to put them on. It's been just, I mean, you got days like this. We can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But we're continue. We got 1 more bag. We're pumping in. We pumped in last week, pumped in today. And I'm not sure, he may end up trying to get 1 more bag out there, even though it's going to take up a bay that we really don't have that much drainage in, but the way it falls, it'll fall back into the drains. So we'll continue working on that. The water plant, I know we're working with Neptune on some new software. They give us, it's a belt clip reader. They let us borrow for, I think we've had it like 6 years. These things are like $6,000. But they said, look, you've had it so long, we'll give it to you for $1,000. But we're looking at, well, do we want to spend that $1,000, or do we want to put money in our budget to update our equipment? So he's working on that to see if we can't get the updated readers for the new meters that we're putting in. And that goes right into reader replacement. 70 green tags going out for this month, and actually we only shut 2 off. Everybody else paid. So they're doing their job, seem to be. Even though it takes us time, the $5 charges on.
And this is the first month with the additional charge, right?
This is the.
Because it went into effect in January, so they would have gone in January.
Yeah, this is the, yep.
So this is the second month.
Second month of doing it, yes. Okay. So it seems to be working. Street department, I know they're still patching holes, doing some storm grate cleaning and things of that nature. That storm drop at Washington and Fremont, they got hit by buses, taken care of. Had a couple storm drops at Maple and Basel. Just trying to finish up some stuff from last fall, and they got into the winter. So we go to projects. Circle K, I think we talked about last meeting that they was gonna put on a grinder pump for their new car, or the updated car wash instead of recycling our water. I did get the okay, we got to check for that, so that's in progress. East Side Drainage, we did meet with V3 on the 13th. Going over some other things, project wise, but that big one out there is we're trying to get everything where we can, they want to walk many properties in and out of the village. Some of which I'm sure we can gain permission from, no problem. The residents of that's up and down Old Road, I really wasn't going to send out letters because everybody there kind of knows what we're doing. It's the ones outside the village that I'm still working on, trying to get permission to walk the properties. Not the easiest to do on a few things. They also asked me to get some drawings and things for some culvert pipes that was put in. Unfortunately, it was in the township. I did reach out to the township. I sat down with those guys, met with them. They was actually getting a hold of V3 themselves and see if they can't work something out to get some drawings of some culvert pipes. So that's outside of what I can and can't do, obviously, because it's all township and some of it was county. So it's in the process. It is being worked on. And then 303 North Liberty. Just so council knows, we took initiative and went and boarded that place up. And then as we did that, we took that cost and we did the final assessment on taxes there.
Yeah, I assessed the taxes.
Assessed taxes of that cost and whatever was outstanding with water at that point, water and sewer, I should say. So that part got done. The North Granville Street project is pretty much underway. As again, we met with V3 and they're sending out the PTI. And I believe that's the one where we sent out bid package. We'll be going out 3-2 and bid opening will be 327 on that project. Also had a meeting with Micro Construction and ODOT this past week on the white building at the corner. Right now, their plan for that is they're going to fence off parking areas and sidewalks from the corner to the north, on the east side of the road to the north, all the way to the Pine House for approximately 1 week. Their demo, right now, tentative date is to start the Sunday, the 16th. Because we will physically be blocking off 158. We've got AP on them involved, the gas company's involved, obviously we're involved, ODOT's involved. AP will be taking down a pole. They're going to drag the whole building out to the front. Dumpsters will be lined up down on the road, and all the whole building will come under that dumpster area.
So the whole road will be closed.
Just northbound, just north of 256.
24 hours a day.
Nope, he said approximately 2 hours. 2 hours on Sunday is it.
And that's it.
Yes. So
But there won't be parking on those spots
For a
right there
week.
For a week.
I did ask the question, who have you reached out to? So they tried to reach out to the Plant House, but no avail. So I would do that myself. Also try to reach out to them. That's in their ballpark. They need to know about it. They need to get a hold of Creanos, the tax company, and let them know, this is going to be closed. So that overflow parking, man, going that way is what we're talking about.
In reality, it's 2, maybe 3 street parking spots per week.
I would say it's about 3.
Because they're stopping it at the Pine House. So
Because that stairwell that goes to the Pine House, they got to re-engineer. They got to actually get an engineer anchor to re-support that stairwell.
okay.
So that will take place out throughout that week. The big majority of it is on that Sunday, is to get an excavator in where it's going to hold partial that building up, just in case something was to go awry. That's what they're trying to do. And then that way they can bring everything else out, get in the dumpster, get that excavator out of the road. I talked with the mill, and he said logistically, let him know, and he will stop truck traffic that day for that many hours. Creative Foods, I don't believe they do anything. I will reach out to them. Under Chief was in on that meeting, and he's going to put an officer in, which they are willing to pay that wage for that day. just in case we got to redirect some traffic.
So it really sounds like on that Sunday, that's the day they're just knocking it down, and the rest of it's the cleanup.
Exactly. After that,
What was the date?
16th, I tentative on the 16th. There's a lot of April, I'm sorry, April,
3 days apart there.
April, yes. Yeah, it's got to be done that in April. No, we made sure that was not Easter. Because I know the Easter egg runs and things like that. We discussed that pretty much when it started. They did not say exactly what time. Like I said, there's a lot to put together between now and then, so that's why it's still a tentative date. At the end, it's gonna be seeded and straw. So it's a grass area. It's what my understanding. I kind of asked if they pave it, but they said no. It doesn't hurt to ask, you're right. So that's it on that one. And you guys tell me if I'm in the wrong wheelhouse to be asking these questions. And Jeff may help me out with that one when he gets here. But some time ago, when I got a letter from Ohio Department of Commerce about our building department. And I have to submit some things to them. It's a code rule, and it's our YOR, which is a yearly operational report on the building. So we did some research way back when, and it was 2022-21 ordinance. The council.
We just reinstated the building department.
Yeah, and we signed the contract. Everybody signed the contract except for William Toole.
The one guy that does.
The one guy that does it didn't sign our contract.
So that will be a good question for Jeff to see if it's still in effect and how that does it.
Well,
So
after that meeting, I heard multiple complaints about them being completely overstretched and taking weeks, if not months.
I've heard that just since I've been digging into this and what
Right,
short
to
period of time.
do their job. So I was all for it as long as they can get it done, but I've heard multiple complaints since then that they are severely overstretched.
That said, Jeff went to the doctor and he is ill and he's been told to rest. So he's not working today, tomorrow, later this week.
That makes sense.
He might be on email, but he is not going to be.
Okay, that's fine. But that's something I definitely want to bring up to service. That was one of them. I think the last thing I got, hopefully this is it. 1319 Canal. I don't know who's familiar with that address at all. I figured that. I figured. Okay. Yeah, pretty much. The tenant called in, the resident called in because we left a green tag on the door. Irate. He was very, very irate. So I've never turned the water on. I've never done this. I've never done that. We seen usage the past 2 months on the meters. So I said, well, something's going on. You're leaking. You're doing something.
You're not going to
the first thing in our system is the address is there. Owner says unknown. So when I talked to him, I said, first thing that happened, somebody's got to put this in there. Whoever is the owner of this piece of property, you got to get this water service in their name.
You haven't seen it? We talk about properties that are problems. This was one of the worst in town by
There
far.
is no doubt.
And I'm the last person in the world to complain, but this one should have been brought up a year ago.
I'm trying to think because when I walk past, there's
It's
a couple.
east of my property, the next block on the south side of the street. It's been under construction for about 2 years.
Okay.
Campers parked in the street right away, trucks always parked in the
Like trucks
street.
always in the.
And I'm not one to complain, I've never ever brought it up, but this one far exceeds.
I know where
acceptable. There's a 2-story tall block wall, I don't even know where we're headed here.
Well,
Is there a roof on it at all?
there's
I'm a little bit
no, nothing.
familiar with construction, and that one's headed down a dark path.
Right. Yep. I'll continue on. Yeah, I guess
I'm
we'll,
running to the township meeting, but
I'll keep you abreast of this situation.
standing room only. Okay.
Yeah, I got a text, it's packed.
Good luck.
Thanks.
There was a glitch in our system. Like I said, when it said unknown, he never got a water bill. Our system would not mail a bill. It automatically mails our bills. We don't do it. We do not mail bills internally. We put all the input in and it mails the bill.
His wife's there too. She's the one that's taking.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's something else.
I'm easygoing, hardship, I got it, but it's not getting any better.
No.
One parking problem too is the folks across the street because they can't get out of their driveways.
Mhm.
It's an issue.
So he want to kind of rate on having a bill, and I think we've assessed the taxes there once. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And it took me a long time to get him to understand there is a minimum. When you turn the water on, you don't turn the water on. There's a minimum bill that you pay per month. Finally got it across to him. I said, look, I'll plead your case in council, but I need to get that put in somebody's name. Well, supposedly the story I got is they live in the apartments down here, but they spend their time working on that. And I think,
I'm not sure what the campers.
I don't know neither.
Any other law, we wouldn't allow that camper to be there the way that it is. Sure, we violate.
They're showing usage the past 3 months. They're showing usage. So I'm going to say after Christmas, they had a leak. It front froze and burst. The water's never been shut off. There's so much building material on the curb stop. I said, look, I'll schedule it with you. Once it's put in someone's name, and I will stop the usage at least, because I can go over and find a curb box and you can cut it off. I still have nothing about that. But I guess to go back on, he's never gotten a bill because of a glitch in our system. Is there anything that you would like me to do, not do, let it go? What should we do there?
You said there needs to be a name, personal.
There
name
needs
put
to be a
on
name. Yes, there has to be a name.
The
Yes.
water has to remain turned off until the account is set up with a person responsible.
Yes, but
That's a no-brainer.
and right now we can't even get in there and turn it off. Yeah, so you're going to keep showing these, you're going to get bigger and bigger bills because of the leak you have.
Right.
So you put it in somebody's name, and I'll schedule it with you to get over there and find it, turn it off. That way you won't have no more usage. And I thought that would spawn that spark to put it in someone's name. It didn't do anything.
And they understand if you shut it off. And
They still have a minimum bill. He's
So they abandon the tap.
Yeah. And there's a way to abandon the tap, and I explained that to him also. And it takes a lot more than just paying the bill and putting in your name. So I'm just not we're sure what direction anybody wants me to go with that. That's what I'm here to ask. And Debbie thought you was full of questions. I'm open.
Yeah, I think we have to pursue the water part of it, like, as you are.
Mhm.
If he doesn't move the building material, what do we do then? I think they're in the street or they wouldn't be blocked.
They're part of it.
So
So
we
we
should make them be moved even if it doesn't have anything to do with the tap, right?
Mhm.
So we have to be in the right.
Mhm.
So there's got to move water to no water.
Right.
But I mean, is there a building permit?
There was a building permit at one time. Do I think it's expired by now? Because it was 2021. There's no blueprints. I looked in the file. I could not find
We
it.
don't know what he's building or whether it complies with the zoning or anything.
We have no idea. And there's a lot of rubble over top of the hill on the
We've
backside.
had much more organized construction sites shut down by the Baltimore Police Department at the drop of a hat
Mhm.
for virtually no reason. And that one's lingered on for years.
And I don't know if that's a fight nobody
So I
want to
don't know
fight or what.
why
I don't
It's a
even
double standard, but
can't answer that question. I really can't. I'm not afraid to fight the fight, so.
it's got to be done because you just can't continue to let it go on as it is. I guess it's out of sight, out of mind, maybe.
that was exactly.
I mean, everybody sitting here doesn't even know what house we're talking about. To me, that's just because I happen to live on.
You're
this
right there,
street.
yeah.
So, take a little drive, you'll see what we're talking about.
And that one's kind of out of sight, out of mind. You just don't think about it unless you live on that street. You really don't travel. So
It's the opposite end of your street.
It's one block east. Towards the intersection where we took away the one way. It was only one way section.
Yeah.
Now it's back to two way, but there's only ever one lane
And
because
I've
there's
gone
always that
down
one
this
lane block.
intersection a little while. Is it the one that's right as you're going down the hill, it's up onto the right?
And it's at the top of the hill.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you can't. It's unmistakable.
if you go down there, yeah, you can.
You cannot. I don't know why there's a two-story tall block. So I don't know how that even happens.
Enforce zoning.
There's multiple violations there, you know.
Look at all the violations, start plugging away at those.
No problem.
Okay, to go back to Liberty Street, have those taps, are we taking those taps away or are they continuing to be billed for the minimum billing? I know like on Mill Street, we reached a point where we took the taps because.
Right now,
we just-
let's get back to Liberty. I agree with you because I missed a little bit of Liberty. Yes, it's still getting the minimum bill.
Okay.
There has been,
I mean, there's a reason for leaving the taps, but if they're gonna linger on for years and years and years, we're not gonna get the money anyway. There's a reason to take the taps away.
exactly.
Because at one point they were caught up immediately after.
Mhm.
the fire.
As an investor, the next buyer might appreciate that the taps are still there,
Mhm.
but if it's allowed to linger too many years and they don't pay the minimums, our only choice is to take the taps away.
I have supposedly, there's an investor looking at buying the property.
That'd be awesome.
And that would be great. And that's a story I got. That's a story the Bears Court got from the owner. And I've also been in contact, several phone calls with a neighbor that is very interested in taking that property over. So I don't think it would be something in our best interest to take it away at this quick. Maybe in 2 or 3 months, we look at that again and say, look, there's been no movement from anyone.
And maybe let the investors know that in 6 months, we're gonna take
Right.
those taps.
Exactly. And
So
like I
if you
said,
want it, it's a $6,000 value now.
Yeah.
It's gonna go away if you don't do it.
exactly. Yeah. So that one, I think we just kind of let linger for a minute.
But I'd say we need to let the investors know there's a timeline.
Mhm.
We're not gonna let that go on.
Yeah, I don't know who the investor is. I've not been in contact with any investor. I think one called just to ask if there is back taxes, and yes, you got to go through the county. The only one I've been in contact with is a neighbor that is trying to get financing and things like that, is the way I understood it last. So I will let that neighbor definitely know, and any investor that calls, I will let them know. And then the 1319, yeah, I will probably start that fight this week yet.
Is the camper in violation?
I'm pretty sure.
I can't imagine.
I'm about 90% sure.
Yeah, I remember there was one camper over on Creekview when they were doing renovation. They had to have special permission for that.
Yeah.
It was only for 3 or 4 months back.
And then, do we not enforce reverse parking anymore? Like, I reverse parked twice in my life, but I was warned that if I didn't move the car within a certain number of minutes, it would be towed.
Moving against the traffic,
Yeah.
it's on the opposite side of the street.
Yeah.
I've been told that we don't.
We don't enforce that.
No,
Really? Okay.
I haven't looked. at
Even
the
on
ordinance.
Market Street and Main Street,
I haven't looked at the ordinance, but that's what I've been told that we don't.
they're allowed to reverse park.
That's what I was told by Chief.
I thought it was strange when I started working here too.
I guess it only applies to me.
Lucky you.
Maybe you want to get that in writing.
Wow.
I'm
I
kind
have to test this.
of
Well,
with
it's
you.
actually been recorded, so.
I'm kind of with you on it.
Yeah.
That's what I was telling you.
Okay, just check.
And any questions other than those things for me? I think that's the end of my report. Go ahead.
Okay, wait.
So, Parks and Rec Board, I know you guys were supposed to have a meeting or something about that. Because it's the new thing.
It's a new thing. I know that the people from the swim team has made contact with this office and that's, oh, you're one of the people I need to talk to, and I give him the information.
I've got,
I don't know. I know the mayor is trying to reach out to everyone else, and I don't know where that's at.
I have put a contact out to Jay Holmes, VOB, and he was trying to get more contacts on the swim team. I got one from softball, and then Joey was trying to get the rest of them. And I have, other than that, he says, no, I know it's been real hard to get, because they change. Everybody's been changing, so I'm not really sure who your contacts are.
So that's sort of the table, I guess, so we can get a more
Yeah.
information. BDRCF.
No, nothing like
You got the invoice I sent you?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure you got it.
I talked to Steve about that Saturday.
I just wanted to make sure you got it.
He did.
Okay.
So have you guys been working on window estimating type stuff, estimates?
Yeah,
Yes, we probably need to touch base because there's one estimate
I got the one
and
from Cardulas.
the result is who we had talked about having them in because they had given the previous.
Yeah, and Steve said he thought there was supposed to be somebody that lives in town, I think.
So I don't
I'm gonna
know.
look at it, and I haven't reached out to anybody else.
Yes, we're still working on the windows for the ERC.
Yes.
So that's already been budgeted for, it's just a matter of coordinating that.
Working on that.
Okay, so. All right, now we'll move on to old business, which is the east side drainage project, and I know that we had talked about,
We did talk about
B3 getting permission from the landowners, and so they're still working on that.
Yeah, I'm working on that with those folks, and that's, like I said, it's not the easiest to do.
Speaking of drainage, though, another property owner had contacted, at least asked me who they would speak to under the current circumstances about a drainage project they were working on at West Market Street. Have they talked to you about that at all? It's
Well-
another one of them situations where our municipal storm crosses private property. That private property owner is getting ready to tile their field. In the process, they're going to be changing the tile that we're using. Their position is, if I'm going to size this for my purposes, this is all the bigger it needs to be. That's all I care about. I'm not willing to buy the 15-inch tile that you guys need to put this tile back for you. So what are you willing to help me with? That's the way it was projected to me. I thought they were coming to talk.
Yeah, and I take that back. It was somebody from Soil and Water actually contacted Mr. Fago.
Okay.
It took weeks for him to get through. He called them. It took weeks for them to get back to us. And I've also put Mr. Boucher on that project.
Yeah.
I know he's done some camera work over there, and he's been working with this lady from Soil and Water.
Okay.
And I think a contractor or someone that was going to do some tile work over there. He's been working with them pretty close, but it just kind of come to a standstill.
It's eerily similar to the Total Road situation.
Exactly.
Except the person that is going to do the actual excavation and tile installation
For the
is
smaller truck.
already
Yeah.
in place. Like on Holder Road, they're like, well, who's gonna go on that private property and do that work? Over there, we know who's gonna do the work. The question is, are you gonna help me buy a big enough tile to accommodate your storm needs, or are we just gonna tile it for our own needs and you can flood your village, you can flood your neighborhood, we don't really care, we shouldn't have to bear that cost. Which would include Maple Street, Westwood, areas on the west side. of town.
It goes right,
Both north
Mausel
and south.
Cemetery.
Both
Yeah.
North and south. of Market Street.
And I, Tim has been working on it with Soil and Water. I do have an update on that now. If all he does, I don't.
Do we have any new business for this?
Well, can I go back? I'm sorry. No, go ahead. At the last meeting, Rick had brought up where we are on a 5-year plan. And the mayor had indicated that Terry had 1 year completion before she left. And we were supposed to talk about that tonight, so.
Yeah, that's what I said. I've done a lot of research on that. I found
We found a couple of documents on the sheriff order, but it doesn't look like it's
not nearly.
not nearly as complete as the mayor thinks.
Yeah. So, but Brian, he's been helping me with that a little bit. It's just,
Unless we can, I mean,
unless there's something, and I've got.
unless
Terry's
there's a
computer.
file out there that we
Yeah.
reached out to Terry.
Yeah.
So I do remember that there was an I&I project that we gave input to the EPA.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our plan.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That I have.
and as far as the 5-year plan, that would satisfy that number 4 of the 5-year plan for I&I. We've already pretty much got that in.
That's in
Yeah.
place with B3, yes.
Okay. So then the other 3 departments, the wastewater treatment plant, water treatment plant, and the streets plan. And I thought with the streets, we already got, we know what we're doing at least this year and next year.
Mhm.
So that's 2 of the 3 years.
It is.
3 more years left. So then just with like the water department and wastewater, and with the wastewater treatment plant, I know we have a plan. We want to, we have this fund to put money aside for maintenance and stuff now that we're adding to what we got planned for the sludge press.
Right, yep.
And for
The
the new
building and press.
building and all that sort of stuff. So.
Well, yeah, phase one of that project's been budgeted for the building itself.
Right.
We haven't set aside money for anything like that, other than what we get for tap fees, which I know what I want to do to fund this, the sewer improvement part of it. I know how to go about doing that. But it's gonna take some money away from the sewer fund itself to do that. In other words, what I mean by that is we get a sizable check every month from the Greif facility. One of the things that I would like to do, because I know we're gonna have to spend $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 by the time 10 years for the new, for the, what am I talking about? The sludge press. Not the sludge press, the membranes. We have to replace them after so many years, and we got lucky the last go around because Greif wrote us a nice big sizable check. We're not gonna get lucky again next time. Right, and we have they have a special rate for sewer, but it's still a sizable amount of money that comes in every month that's currently going into the sewer fund. I'd like to take a portion of that and allocate it to the sewer improvement fund. What percentage of that charge is, I don't know. That way, and build it up to a certain dollar amount.
Yeah.
And then once we reach that dollar amount, then it, of course, it would flow back to the sewer fund itself. But then if we broke into it, you know, to buy, let's say, a sludge press that costs $100,000, you know, I would then filtrate more money into that until it reached that cap again. So basically, that's what I'd like to do. I just haven't figured out when to start doing that.
Well, we need to create like another account.
No. We already got the fund established. It's just a matter of,
What do we move into that fund?
well, besides right now, the only thing that's going into that fund is taps. And we don't get many of those a year.
So you're saying a portion of Greif's money should start going to that fund?
Yes.
What percentage are you recommending?
Well, I at one time I was thinking, you know, 50%, but I don't know, you know,
It's not gonna leave it short anywhere else.
that's just the point. I've got money budgeted on the sewer fund this year. I don't know if I want to take away from it this year, but maybe going forward, starting maybe next year, taking a portion of what they pay every month in their monthly bill and put it into that sewer improvement portion, and then build that up to, let's say, cap it off at $500,000, let's say.
Yeah.
And once you reach that $500,000, then that no more money goes into that fund except for taps.
Yeah. And I think putting 50% of Greif's money towards that is probably the smart thing to do, at least, because if we don't provide that service for Greif and we lose Greif, we just cut it on.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not trying to do anything special for Greif.
Right.
We kind of take them for granted, and we need to make sure we're providing the services they need. Because if we can't, we are basically killing them, and that's like killing the golden goose.
Right.
So to put at least 50% of that money in there for sewer improvements, I think is a fair minimum.
But I don't want to hurt the sewer fund this year. Maybe, you
It's
know.
money we weren't even getting for years.
No, they're right. And because, I mean, when they tie it on, the engineers projected the sewer fund would benefit by an extra $100,000 a year.
Right.
I'm thinking, you know, half of that, take half of that.
Right.
Put it in the sewer, because we got to make improvements to the plant out there. We're gonna have to buy membranes in about, what year is it?
This is year 3.
This is year 3. So I mean, we still got time,
Yeah, right.
but 6-7 years down the road, we're gonna be needing to buy $300,000-$400,000 worth of membranes again. And I really don't want to go out and take out another loan to
My
do that.
understanding is if we were to install a clarifier, our membrane would last because a large percentage of the solids should be taken out of there with a clarifier before you hit the plant, is my understanding. But that plant should have had a clarifier the day it was built.
It should have had a clarifier. It should have had a they tried a fine screen. It did not work. All right, it was a guinea pig fine screen system that did not work. If it would have worked, that would have been the cat's meow.
But it didn't, and now we have nothing. Everything's going straight
Exactly.
into the membranes.
Yeah.
And we're killing our membranes because we're throwing all this stuff out of it that weren't even made to deal with because we don't have a clarifier.
Right.
So, I mean, the more money we pull out of what Greg's paying, so we can upgrade that plant, preserve the plant and keep it working
So
properly,
should that be,
the better.
should the clarifier be the priority or the sludge press?
Right now, the sludge press would almost have to be the priority because, here we are, we got sludge, we got so much sludge, we got a sludge tank that's full. We're pumping bags full, we got no place to put what's in the plant. So I think that sludge press, because it can, once it's up and running, it can run
So
2 weeks off for a week,
for
2
one of the
weeks off.
5 years, the first year of that 5-year plan for the wastewater treatment plan is figuring out the finances for the other 4 years.
We're gonna get the same amount of
Yeah.
sludge either way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
The
exactly.
difference with the clarifier is it keeps it out of our membranes and lowers
It
our
puts
maintenance.
it somewhere.
rate.
Yeah.
Right. And it
So-
preserves probably the life of the membrane as well.
Now, that would be my suggestion on how to fund the sewer improvement fund. So we can continue to pay, for improvements out there and that kind of stuff. The water improvement fund, I'm still up in the air on how to fund that one, other than what's going in there right now, which is tap fees, which,
It's hard to find.
yeah, it's better than it was.
So, I figured out wastewater treatment plant, got a pretty good idea about, the water treatment plant is what you were just talking about. But you guys know that there's maintenance and stuff that you need to do on that with like the salt.
Yeah, but when that comes straight out of the water,
Yeah,
that comes straight out.
Like our brine system. I mean, we know we got some.
That's just our, yeah. But if something happens to that plant, that we need to make a major repair. I don't know if we have, that's true. I know, but
So getting a fund for money set aside, you're talking about how we're gonna put money in it.
yeah, we need that money in there too for future things too, but I haven't figured out how to fund that one.
The 5-year plan, I mean,
I'm going somewhere
we got a
with it.
sketch, we got a pretty good idea what we're doing. All right.
My biggest goal was to try to find what has been started on it, and on the documents and things, and because I don't really want to start over and be completely wrong of where we're at. Maybe we're a third or a quarter of the way to this part, and then I'm starting over and erasing everything that's been done.
I wanted to add something because I know we were going to get ready to adjourn. Just real quickly, I was walking the bike path out there in front of the Methodist church. One of those drainage pipes is running underneath that the new path. It's washing out pretty bad.
I wasn't aware of that. We was aware of that. Yes, I know exactly where it's at.
I just didn't want that to collapse. Well,
Yeah.
someone's on it, or a tractor's going across the road, or
And then did we?
You got a bike path? There's a bike path in this village?
Steve?
Rusty, did you have anything to address with the service committee?
I'm messed up. I'm here.
Oh, really? Okay.
Service is a little more informal if you want to bring it up here.
Well, I'm actually here with Tim in case when we get to that point.
We were talking about the tear down.
We did go over that. Yeah. Yeah.
I was just here in case there was any questions that maybe he couldn't answer that.
It's appropriate to bring it up here. We talked about
Yeah.
it earlier. You just don't hear you.
I just kind of went over everything off my notes that we took on the 23rd when we met with you and ODOT. The parking was the big thing. And I don't know where you stand with getting a hold of anybody at the Pint House, Screeners, or the tax people.
Fairfield County is trying to get a hold of.
Okay.
Person that manages the Pint House and the owner.
Okay.
Two different people.
Right.
Yeah. So they're working there. I'm still waiting on AEP to get us the
work order.
the work order to shut down service, all that fun stuff. The gas company, Columbia Gas, is working on a work order to do everything for their side. But that entails getting a hold of the White House as well.
Mhm.
And so no, I was just here to answer any questions anybody had.
Sounded like we were all aware that it's pretty much going to be a short-term pain for a long-term gain. So we do?
Pretty much, it'll be about a week's worth of time, and then afterwards, it'll be a green space.
And then we're,
We may not even know what hiccups may come up until they come up.
right.
Sounds like you guys are trying your best to address them.
Yes,
And we're still on that 2 hour shut down the roadway on a Sunday, 2 to 3 hour window, right?
correct. And I would like to shoot for April 16th.
That's what I got.
The date.
Yep.
But we are flexible on that. We have to, for Fairfield County, we have to have it done before May. So I would like to be earlier than later instead of, the 22nd probably wouldn't be good, but
And that shutdown was northbound lane only.
it'll be both lanes.
Northbound and southbound.
I might have told you on that. It's north and south, yeah.
For 2 hours, it'll be both lanes.
And traffic control will be handled by your people. One officer can't handle that much traffic.
It was going to bring in some extra guys.
Yeah, Chief talked about at least one officer at Mulberry, because we won't have any truck traffic, commercial traffic. So be one officer at Mulberry, I believe is what he
And
said.
we're redirecting to Park and Mulberry for water.
Depending on which way they're gonna go, but commercial traffic will be shut down if need be. They'll just have to sit and wait. That's what we're talking about.
Northbound, or southbound traffic will get off of 158 where at water
Mhm.
and come around.
If they're going through town, they'll have to come around that way. It's on
So
water,
Southbound traffic will go water to Market.
and back around.
Northbound traffic will go Market to Park to Mulberry.
So can we post this online on the Baltimore website before we get close to that date?
Yeah,
Yeah, if you notice, I've been working on that. I'm getting better at it. I mean, if you noticed, I did get 2023 ordinance up there. And I've able to finish 2022, so I'm learning.
if I say what I wanna say. on it.
Yeah, if no, you're not saying that. If he gives me a write-up, I'm sure I can post something.
Yes,
ODOT's going to post
and ODOT's posting on it.
And so then that can just be shared onto our site easily, that link.
And ODOT is shutting down any permits to be able to go through on that day. So
Okay.
So besides what,
All right. Well, thank you. So, yes, new business, anybody? Guess, our next meeting is gonna be Wednesday, March 27th, at 6 p.m.
Where's the bike path?
To adjourn. Second.
Shop for a second.
Oh,
Got a motion made and properly seconded. If you would, adjourn, say aye. We're adjourned.
Okay. So up next, the we move right on to safety.
the equal to the stairways.
yeah, the engineers coming in to preserve that. And reconstruct it.
I will warn everybody, it will be kind of nice until we figure it out. Because technically speaking, building, that's the same.
Yeah.
Right.
I think some of us are just gonna bring chairs and sit and watch that jam.
Gladys, you and not me, that's all I have to say.
Go to the coffee shop, get some coffee, sit there. Okay, so, all right, so I guess we're gonna go ahead and start safety. Hi, Chuck.
Hi,
Want to make sure you can hear.
yep,
Okay, so roll call.
McCreary,
Present.
Keller,
present.
and Reed.
Great, and also in attendance, we have the assistant chief, we also have VA, interim VA, we have the fiscal officer, and we have Mr. Foreman, and we also have I'm gonna do this again. Wait, God's great. I'm always like, wait, God's great. So, is everybody here today? How about approval of the minutes, please, of January 23rd?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Part of it, I also would like to accept the minutes. I would to accept the minutes. Roll call.
McCreary,
Yes.
Reedy,
Yes.
Those minutes have been approved. All right, visitors, do we have any visitors for this particular meeting?
no, he left.
2023 goals, we don't have anything listed here. How about reports?
Safety council is what we've been doing, as always. And the signs that was requested on the oncoming traffic does not stop by the high school at Washington and Water. What was that, Washington, the school parking lot coming out. Those were installed. So hopefully that helps, especially the one at Washington and Water. I think that's been a big help from what I've seen so far. Other than that, I'm good.
Great, thank you. Police department, please.
Chief Tessie didn't give me a report to bring tonight. Are there any follow-ups from the last? I know, old business. He talked about the Mulberry Main Street parking issues there. I think that stems from a vehicle that's been struck there like 3 or 4 times. Is that part of it?
I was made aware that Mike Schreier's resident, who's lived there for 4 years, has had 3 cars totaled in 4 years. And 2 mirrors removed. Now it's parked on Main Street south of Mulberry.
Right.
And if you stand at the intersection of Market and Main and you look at that, the center line on Main Street is very much off center. Like there's tons of room on the west side of Main Street, and there's a very small car lane on the east side of Main Street. Maybe contributed.
That's a no dot.
It is an ODOT.
Yeah, it's a no-no.
I don't know whether it's contributing or not, but I know that that's kind of a problem. Somebody's had 3 cars totaled in 4 years.
She called me the last time. I wasn't working, but she called me the last time to tell me that it had just occurred.
And in fact, the car that was sitting there now looks like it was recently hit. It's got orange cones sitting around it.
I seen that.
Pretty jacked up. So I don't know there's anything we can do about it. It's a state route. I don't think it has anything to do with Mulberry or the intersection or anything else. I think cars going up the hill left center and the cars going northbound have nothing to do but run from when they hit the parked car. Very skinny. I think the center line's contributing. I don't know, other than rumble strips on the center line, if they moved the center line and added rumble strips maybe to it, or like rumble bumps to it, maybe that would tell people coming up the hill, hey, you're left of center, you're gonna cause a problem at the top of the hill when you pop up into people's view. I don't know. I don't think it's really anything for the village to do except report it.
I can try to reach out to them.
The only part of the other part of the issue that she mentioned when I talked to her the last few times was she doesn't have any off-road parking in the alley. And even if she did, it's a lot further for her to walk, and there's steps that she'd have to get.
And that brings up another whole topic that, like, when someone wants to tear down a building, we charge a fee. If a building has reached the point where it's in everybody's best interest to tear it down, is it in our best interest to charge a fee? Because Mr. Schreier had full intentions of tearing down that garage behind his rental, and when he was told he had to pay a fee, he said, forget it. He was going to create 2 to 3 more parking spaces for his tenants. They would no longer be parking on the street, and he was told that you'd have to pay a fee to tear down your building. He said, I'm not going to forget it. Now, can he afford to pay? For him, it was like, I'm doing you a favor, creating parking spaces in a place where you need them. I'm tearing down a building that I don't have to tear down. It's actually quite, it's one of them. It's actually a pretty nice building. I don't know why you didn't tear it down. But, and there has been other buildings that we want torn down. I'm not sure why we charge a fee to tear down a building, but. So that brings up the off-street parking angle of it. There is no off-street parking for that rental, but there would have been, but for the fee that we charge to tear it down.
Is it because we want to make sure that those buildings, somehow we're not tearing something of value down? Like, we just allow people to go tear things down.
When you say a fee, is it a permit or is it?
It's a demolition permit.
It's like
And the premise of it is that Tim's gonna go check and make sure it's cleaned up properly. and whatnot. Well, if they don't clean it up properly, they're already in violation of zoning code. And, you know, there are a lot of buildings around town that would be better for all of us if they were torn down, or is it really in our best interest to make the people pay to tear them down? I don't think it is, but, you know, I can see both sides of it. I think Mike's being kind. I told him that to his face. I'm not.
That's all I'm aware of. I'm not aware of.
So I remember when we passed that, it's probably been about a year and a half ago, we raised the fee.
We raised it. There was already a fee in place
Yeah.
in place that we then
Yeah, it was
raised.
like $100. And my understanding at the time was that is in place. So I know that they wanted to check to make sure that, I don't know whether electric or whatever is run to the buildings, but obviously inspections were done. So is there any other reason?
Part of that, like, is it more like a deposit?
You don't get it back when you do
No,
it.
you don't get it back.
It's a fee.
It's just a flat demolition fee.
So is,
Like, are you paying
what's
the demolition
entailed
fee
with
for the
that?
white building?
Like, what do we do for that demolition permit exactly?
Yeah.
At the time, and I can't go back and recall all of that, but it seems like there were some things, responsibilities, which did include some paperwork that was included in that.
Inspections and stuff like that.
Yeah, there is paperwork to be done. Basically that permit would come to me, I'd look at it, pull things up on our website, do a drive-by, look at it, make sure it's not going to encroach around any neighbor's property, it's not going to affect their fences.
All into the roadway.
On the roadway, whatever that may be. Once it's done, exactly, make sure all the debris and everything's cleaned up, it's grass seeded, you're building something back, whatever.
As bad as we want to get rid of the white building, we're charging a fee to get rid of it.
Yes.
So here's this, is there a way that we could, they would pay for the permit, but refundable upon a deposit, put a deposit down, because if they clean up and they don't leave a bunch of debris in the roadway, which I think is probably.
So like the people who check it are
They
on
can
our
get
staff
the money.
already. They're not costing us additional money.
Right. But what
You're
I'm
saying
saying is,
is we want to make sure you leave it clean and neat
Yes.
when you're done.
yes,
And if you don't, we're going to keep you deposit because we're going to send guys in to do that.
Yeah.
We're not charging you a fee. We're charging you a $500 deposit or whatever it is. You know, I don't care what it is. And that's only to make sure you clean up the mess when you're done.
deposit, and then
If you adequately clean up the mess when you're done, it'll be refunded.
I think that.
I think there needs to be a time frame on that myself.
Yeah.
If you tear it down now, you can't wait
60
2
days or
years.
90
Yeah.
days
Right,
of the
exactly.
permit, acquisition of the permit.
So just something that, I mean, that'll definitely take a motion from one of the committees to go to council to
That's-
change our fee structure.
Yeah, you'd have to change the fee structure.
Either way, yeah, I've got money.
You're gonna wait until June. So that would be a fee structure change, but that's something, so this conversation would need to be carried into council with probably.
Well, motion has to come out of a committee, whether it's this one or some other one, I don't know.
It would
I'm
have
not
to-
on this committee, so it won't be from me.
Yes, it's had to come out. I mean, we went from parking issues headquarters.
I know we
We're from there to somewhere else.
Started with parking because-
That didn't-
Well, and because parking has been an issue, we've been talking about lack of parking in them. So there was a segue from the
A
lack
building
of.
we don't need, two
Comprehensive
parking spaces we
parking.
do.
And in my mind, it makes sense if the car has been in the same place, keeps getting totaled, maybe that spot should not be a spot any longer.
That's gonna be tough.
I know,
Those
but
are the ones that
how many
complain.
times,
You're talking about the coffee shop and then Wooden Horse
But
and
it's
then
the
Mike
whole-
Schreier's. You're talking about that stretch of road that is one of the busiest, most
Oh, yeah.
turned, argued about, contested parking
is it
spots.
the same
in all
spot
of
every
Maine.
time that it keeps getting dinged?
Well,
The one main spot is what I'm talking about.
it almost has to be nobody's parked at the coffee shop to be able to hit her car.
Exactly.
The coffee shop runs interference for her car.
Is that the
It
car
happens like at night,
I don't know if that's the same.
the last couple of
Change
weeks.
cars 3 times before you.
The one that hit Skip, we found that car though, but I mean, it was like raining and
It keeps going
it
up.
was very.
Battery must be going down.
Well,
I just say it's just bad luck.
Oh, great.
There's more to it.
I don't wanna lose track here, but are you saying, do we need to make a motion here to carry this on or take this conversation regarding the fee structure.
Well,
changed
I
into-
think, this is a safety issue.
Okay, well, we have two different issues. So the fee structure, it would be a deposit rather than a fee, so on that permit, that's the first thing. And then we jump back to, because then I have something else I'm supposed to bring up regarding the parking, and it's actually regarding Main Street. So,
Okay.
which one do we need to finish by one of these up?
The thing about the taking up to council, I mean, it can come out of this committee. I mean, you guys brought it up, so someone would have to make a motion.
So a demolition permit being changed to a demolition deposit that would be refundable, refundable.
But do you want to refund the whole, because you're talking man hours? I mean, I understand, but you know, to do the paperwork and that kind of stuff, inspecting, you're gonna have some costs associated with that. So I'm not saying no to refunding,
Right.
but I don't think we should refund the whole.
$200.
I think if you leave the barrier, you left the barrier.
But that's totally up to you guys. That's just my input on that.
Yeah, I just think so. Do you want to put the motion together? Want me to put the motion?
To take.
Rusty.
Rusty wanted to say something.
Yes.
I've done a lot of demo permits all over the place.
Mhm.
And several of them are just a permit you pay and then it's gone. Others are just like you're talking about, it's a deposit. And yet,
Partially refund.
yeah, I've had some that are fully refunded. I've seen some that are partially refunded.
Mhm.
And every time there's always a clause in there that the contractor, homeowner, whoever does it has to call in to have them come out and inspect it before they ever get their refund.
Yeah. I agree.
And if they don't, then it's their fault and it's gone.
After that
I
90
like that.
days
And
or
you have a
whatever.
window, 60 days,
Yeah.
whatever, upon receiving said permit.
And I think, say, we have costs, I mean, the cost of our employees is there, whether they're busy cleaning up messes in the village or not. I'd say let's not leave the barrier on the homeowner.
I disagree.
And that's
I just think, I think that there should be majority of a refund, but I think there should be some type of fee there for the process.
Permit.
Right, I make a motion
Fence and stuff.
to change the demolition to permit to $500
I don't know what it is.
refundable refundable of $400
I don't know what it is.
within 60 days of the demolition. And
So we're just gonna take it there for discussion.
And Jeff will turn it into.
I was trying to add that.
Yeah, that,
Made a motion to
Yeah.
modify the demolition pit
Yeah.
as a refundable.
or at least partially.
Partially refundable. I said 400, but it doesn't matter.
I don't know how much
Yeah,
it
we
is.
don't-
We don't know how much it is.
With
With,
stipulation that they need to call to get it inspected, and if they don't, they.
Within said period of time, and we can determine what that is. I second that.
within a period of time.
You're taking shorthand on that one?
I don't know how to take shorthand. Okay, and Curry.
You wanna read that back to us?
Yeah, reading motion to modify the demolition permit partially, to partially refund the permit with stipulations for inspections within a period of time.
Yes, very good, okay. McCray second.
And you seconded it.
What do you think, Chuck? Any input?
Well, yeah, I don't think we have to really make it go to Jeff and ordinance. Why don't we just take each building or whoever comes to the council and do it one-on-one, and we just waive so much fund So when we go to council, we just make a motion like Schreier or whoever, I can't hear everybody who you talk about. Why can't you just on a motion say we waive so much of the cost, the demolition cost for a certain building? I mean, just like somebody come in, they have a big high water bill and we talk about that and we decide that we waive that cost. Remember how we do that? We don't have, we just
Okay,
waive.
refundable amount discretionary on council based on our own personal needs. or
Yeah,
our
just,
village
like,
needs.
especially somebody downtown, we might want to look at them different than someone on the edge of town, you know what I mean? That one benefit the village so much.
Case by case.
Or tearing down like a school building or something large is a lot different than tearing down a 20 by 30 shed.
Yeah, I mean, just look at each one individually and just waive it on a motion during council. Can we do that?
I'm not an attorney, Chuck, but I think I'd have to take a look at the codification of ordinance to see where we're at on that. Because if it stipulates we charge and it doesn't say anything about refunds, I think the ordinance would have to be amended, I believe.
And we'll also have to figure in if whoever goes out to inspect it and it's not okay, there probably is going to be have to be a follow-up as well until we know that it is. So we have to factor that in too. There might be more out there.
Why don't we go ahead and talk about here in committee that we want to somehow refund some of the money. Then when Jeff comes in, we can ask him what's the best way to do it.
Okay, we could, but Jeff's not coming in tonight.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
It's not gonna hurt anything to punch us 2 weeks either.
Oh,
So we're just proposing, we'll talk about it at the next meeting.
Yeah, next.
They can wait a meeting.
Yeah, because most likely the mayor and, Mr. Fago probably won't be here this evening.
oh, okay. What are you in a township meeting?
There is a packed township meeting. I got a picture from Mr. Cockrell. It is packed.
Yeah, I got
Wall
it.
to wall people.
Oh,
So,
Word says we should have had it at the school.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of like being in that township meeting myself.
I was hoping we would do something so we could all be there. We should be there.
We're gonna speak some.
Okay.
All right, old business. We've kind of touched upon this, but this is gonna be the Mulberry and Main. That corner there, which there was an accident there last week. So we had proposed putting a parking sign there that says no parking from here to corner.
Okay, that's what we just talked about, right?
Is that?
Yeah, and, the only thing I'll add to that is there's no parking around the corner there either because of the bank, the drive-throughs. So very little on off Main Street parking there as well. It's just a difficult, situation here.
I don't think a sign has been placed there yet, though, correct? So that's the thing that we're bringing up, if that would be beneficial to add a sign
That's
right there directly in front of the coffee shop, no parking from there to corner.
Because I don't think we had anyone really talked about that sign last.
I didn't see it.
Just the parking issues is all we really talked about. We never really talked about a sign being in place there.
Maybe it's
That I
because
remember.
conversations with someone about that, because I know right now you have the heating and cooling van that's been there for a while. And then you can, a lot of times there are two cars trying to park behind that van. That second car is almost in the street. I mean, its tail is almost in the street. So the thought was to put a sign that's a little bit more, almost in front of the coffee shop.
I was gonna say, that was-
Parking so close to.
Right. So is that? How's that gonna hinder? You said there's no parking around.
Because you can't see when you go to
Yeah.
turn right out onto or left, that traffic is coming over the hill.
Okay, so we're talking about a visual problem now?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
switch gears on me a little bit.
Yeah, so it's.
I
it's
follow you
because
now.
of the
I
cars.
follow you now. I mean, yeah, there's definitely, I think by ordinance, there's a set amount of.
Distance.
from corner to-
Make curb yellow, so it's
Yeah, that's
livable.
what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
where the curbs aren't painted.
There might not be much of a curve.
Yeah.
Oh, paint
No.
sidewalk.
Paint the remnants of the curb yellow.
Check rest on them, just go.
Now that I know what you,
Yeah.
what you mean about.
Yeah, it's
Visually being able to see.
twofold. Yeah, it's the visibility when you go to try to pull out onto Main. It's dangerous, especially the van is parked there. I mean, you really have to creep out nose first. It's just visible.
Same problem happens in high.
You know, right. We try to stress this to folks sometimes when you're coming out of that street, Mulberry onto Main. When people are trying to make a left turn, the best thing to do is make a right turn and find another way to go because, you know,
So then you're saying proposing maybe right turn only?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's a practice that I use
Mhm.
myself. It might be better if people would do. I know we do it at Cliff Street.
Right, yes, because we want visibility at all.
Right. It's just when you have, you're right, when you have the elevation changes, it does create a problem with being able to see, get out.
Anybody have any preference there?
Cliff is almost worse.
It is.
It's just,
It just creates kind of a hang up to
yeah,
have two streets in a row with no right.
people just need to be more careful. That's not the only solution.
I mean, the only other thing I can look and see what that ordinance is of how far we need to paint yellow on that curve around that corner, and that could actually remove one car if it's far enough
Mhm.
to the north.
Okay, all right. Anything else on that, or can we move on to the 25 miles per hour on residential streets?
I was told that they are 25.
You don't see signage though.
The mayor said no, the mayor said no.
Unless it's posted, the answer is no. He said it was automatic.
Mhm.
35.
Just 35.
Unless posted,
Say
35.
something about this.
Mhm.
If we do this, do we have to at that point put signs on our street?
Yes,
I'm almost certain we have to do that.
yes.
Yeah.
So then that would be okay.
Here's my thing, this was sort of a knee, in my opinion, sort of a knee-jerk reaction to one complaint. I mean, it's like we're gonna spend a bunch of money putting signs up because one person had a complaint on one street. And it just, I don't know, it seems like a little bit out of proportion to me.
We have a,
I mean, I agree.
council's had a tendency to do that, and I agree with you wholeheartedly.
I agree with you on that. And I think it would behoove us to get that sign that we can move and just continue. We have been using that, and it seems like it was pretty effective.
We actually, to bring that up, we have 2 of them now that I believe we can get working.
Okay.
I had them working. I've lost time to even go back and look.
I
Chief and I
understand.
spoke about that last week.
You're talking
You
about
can't fit that in.
The radar signs.
Yeah, the radar signs.
Yes, radar sign.
Yes.
Just moving that around here and there, it seems like it deters people from.
I mean, I would say, maybe 4 signs at the beginning. State highways, 25 inside of Baltimore, however you wanna say it. Because if they're coming in town, how do they know that all the?
Well, they do on the
25?
main thoroughfares here on Main and Market. You do see a change. It's the side streets that you don't see any signage.
I'm pretty sure you see them on Basel coming south. It changes to 25. Coming north, I think,
Coming into
I'm not
town.
sure about north.
Yeah, it's all that.
From the north, coming north from the south up to Market. I don't, Holder's got it.
It doesn't matter, but.
No, it doesn't matter. And I know Canal has it.
So you're speaking to the fact that it really doesn't matter. Put signs up.
I've seen a couple of different things. I don't know that any of these apply with the village. One is that the speed limit is 25 miles per hour village wide.
Mhm.
When you enter the village, there's a sign that says that. I don't know if that's,
Well, we can't do state routes except for the downtown areas.
Right.
So it
So
really
it would
is.
stay the way that is.
And the mayor said that if it's a no U-turn, it has to be at every single entrance to the village. If you miss one, you're not gonna hold up, which kind of makes sense. I think we're Spend a lot of time on the
I think we have a bigger problem with people running red light. I've seen 3 people run, I mean, serious, not yellow, not even close to yellow, but I've gotten almost hit at Shoppers coming out a couple times. And I saw somebody sit today at Basel Street, let it turn red, sit there for a few seconds, and then decided they looked around and nobody was everywhere that cleaned up. But I know there's something going on.
I just know you guys talked about this last month and that's why.
We did.
I guess we could also say, so how many tickets annually are handed out for?
I've seen more tickets being written in the last few weeks than I've seen in my entire life.
They're hitting school zone pretty hard.
Yeah, they are. They're hitting schools on really hard. I've never seen so many tickets written.
If there should be tickets, it should be in a school zone. Somebody, if you're risking,
Well,
Kids
that's like
getting-
65,
I don't know
25. which we all know.
yeah. But generally the school zones is where.
That's where you see a lot of violations. You know, the signs were helpful when we would get a complaint. I know up on North Basel, we got complaints. We put the signs up there and found, and we did surveys too, to see just how fast people were going, which does not have a sign. Just a survey. It was telling us, other than a few very high speed, and I hate to say it, but the fact of the matter is it could have been an ambulance, it could have been a sheriff's deputy, it could have been a police officer, it could have been somebody, not like the pickup truck too. Yeah, I can say that because I drive a pickup. But, you know, we didn't see the consistent violations that we were hearing.
So maybe,
Not that they're not concerns there, but there are, but we're just not seeing
but
it.
they're few and far between.
From going up the hill,
North on the
Railroad.
other side of the railroad track.
we got a lot of complaints a couple of years ago for sure.
Yes.
So maybe we can table it
easy to
and
do.
come back to it if we feel like it's something we need to address later. But right now, sounds like we're all on. What do you think, Darrell?
Yeah, I agree. Just-
Okay.
The chief's note here is that we support 25 mile per hour.
Okay,
So what's the, what's,
well, we just decided, I think we're just gonna keep things as they are at this time.
okay,
No changes, or proposed changes at this.
no, not changes. We're removing it.
Yeah, no proposed changes at this time. Any new business? Any new business?
Just, we took a resignation today from one of our part-time officers. He's been full-time with Franklin County Sheriff's Office since he started with us, and he's now working a patrol assignment, and it has to do with leads access and those kinds of things. So he resigned today. John McNally been with us for about 7 years.
Okay.
So good fellow, he's gonna do fine. Oh, yeah.
Thank you. All right, well, if there's nothing else, then our next meeting is going to be, March 27th. No. It's gonna be the 4th Monday. Oh, my goodness, right. Whichever way. Okay, March 27th at 6:45 on immediately following, this meeting. So, would you like to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn the safety meeting.
And I'll second that. And the meeting has been adjourned 7:24.
5-minute break.
Brian, mine.
Okay.
I will stand up.
The record. We're off the record. We're
Yes.
off the record.
Okay.
Turn the back to the door right now.
I was gonna say, isn't it?
Okay, we got 5 minutes to spare.
Oh, I see.
What's Rusty's last name?
What's that?
Chuck is standing up.
What's Rusty's last name?
Mock.
M-O-C-K. Mock.
Oh, my word.
Okay.
Yeah, I just need to get him called.
We don't have Rusty. David's down in.
I don't rush right now.
Not at the moment. I gotta. What I do is get the other solar panel. To the second side.
Maybe, but
We got 2 of these for the first one right now. I need to remount the solar panel. It's not so.
it's my favorite. Okay.
Give us a sign. They give it to us. Here you go. The lower problem you have, here's a sign.
I don't know if he wants to speak.
And you can get, get charged. And then sit down with my computer, make sure I know what I'm doing. Whoever it is.
You need a handle.
Yeah.
I'll volunteer David. David's really good. He used to do that kind of stuff in control.
Sticking around.
No, I gotta be able to way to pick my son up.
So,
I just.
Your monthly stay at this level.
I could probably just about. I don't know. I probably just
My
about.
reason was just making sure that.
Go around over you guys' place. Hang that logo. You got a problem.
Just make sure what he's
Cause there's some stuff you know how to talk and stuff you gotta things like that. And then you can choose right to the side. That's how we should.
Yeah. You got bigger people than us. AEP, Columbia Gas, good luck with all that.
It'd be interesting.
Tool.
And that's, I gotta bring a big enough excavator in to reach to the top of that, so. It's gonna
Come out to wood.
That was the mission part of the woods to. As soon as we get this road down, we're gonna pull in, detach the level and load it, tear it down.
I thought it was kind of fun sometimes when I look, see how far people are going down there. They don't do it. It's not a sort of car count.
Under the circumstances, they're probably better off if you do it on Sunday. So we reduce your tax. Sounds like you guys got a pretty good plan for this, so I think everything's cool here. Oh, yeah, you go.
Yeah, they're just starting to.
See, baseball, football. We're a couple seasons out.
Yeah,
6:30 days.
Yeah, that's cool.
Good job, Robert. The mayor is not gonna make that. He said that they are still, the economic development is still talking. Want me to do that?
That's a contact. That's a phone. We'll talk about it. So make sure you guys are good. It's good fun. It's good fun.
I thought you said it wasn't coming back.
No, that's what he was saying. He's saying that most likely he will not make it back.
So I start talking, right? I got 3 more things on my list here.
Both the attorneys are not here. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Good job.
My wife was trying to listen, but we couldn't understand. It's nothing that we can do.
Water machine.
I don't know. I mean, I know I was having issues with my microphone, but it was all gargled up and stuff. I don't know why we still do this.
I'm lazy. What can I say? No, I haven't.
Just give them to me whenever and I'll get it.
Well, that means Darla gets to run the meeting tonight.
Yeah, those are the meetings. I'm putting it on my calendar right now for the meeting. So I will.
We've got the ordinance on about the salary range and all that stuff. We're gonna pass that tonight. The ordinance about the salary range,
It's
the
just,
administrator, we got that tonight. We're gonna move on that tonight. And then we're just gonna, because we got a whole bunch of like new applicants and stuff in.
all right, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate you showing up for us. If there's any other questions come up, I will be in contact.
Sounds up with everybody.
Thank you.
That's kind of what I want.
Let me know tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
Start getting the line up.
Thanks, Rusty. I appreciate it.
See, that's not what I.
See, you don't think that she doesn't, that's what I want to do.
The county's has proposed.
Okay, that's what it's about.
Council meeting is. Second. Words for please.
Father, Lord, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Standing in, so bear with me. We have the approval of the minutes.
Well, let's do roll call first.
Roll call. You got it.
Cosgray,
Present.
Foreman,
Present.
Keller,
Present.
McCreary,
Present.
Reedy,
Reese, present.
and Schaffner.
Present.
We also have the interim and
Now
fiscal.
may we have the approval of the January 23rd meeting.
Before we make a motion, we approve as written.
Do we have a second?
Cosgrave, second.
All in favor? Aye. Should we do a roll call on that one?
Yes, we usually do roll calls on that
Roll
one.
call, please.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
McCreary,
Yes.
Reedy,
Yes.
Schaffner.
Yes. We will have approval of the agenda.
Before we make a motion, we approve the agenda as written.
Can you carry second that?
All in favor? Roll call.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Keller can't vote. McCreary,
Yes.
Reedy,
Yes.
Schaffner.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Visitor, do you have anything to say? Gotcha. Our village administrator, the mayor's not here. The administrator, village administrator.
Okay, I'm not sure what report he has, as I did not get to visit very much today or this week. I'll give my report and service about projects we have, what's been going on with the plans. I do have a couple comments that were brought up in service, and I don't know if that's now.
Yeah.
Building department, we talked about that. Mr. Faco, we need to get with him and find out where we are with that. As I said, we know this contract never got signed by the company that was supplying that service to us. We all signed it. We passed the ordinance. So we'll have to work on that one. We've got, two others, the 1319 canal we talked about in service, which I will work on that with my notes. I have found that there's a new street, or not a new street, there has been a street in Baltimore for quite some time called Mechanic Street. It runs north off of Canal, and it is, someone asked for a permit. And once I started digging into this, and I probably should have got this to council. So you're going out Granville, you turn the corner, you're kind of going up the hill, and then you get another corner before the tracks. That house, it says right in that, and the last name is Printed. So it's right in that. To the west of that is a street, it's Mechanic Street. It runs from Canal to the railroad tracks. Never been developed. So it's never been developed.
Hill? Isn't that hill like vertical?
Yeah, on the backside of the Prickett's property
Is vertical.
is kind of vertical. They was told, I don't know by whom and how long ago, that they built some things in that right away before it goes vertical.
Okay.
He's done a lot of dress up to the hill that comes down to Canal Street. My question is, if anybody can see that, I can walk it around real quick. Yep. The question then to council will be, what do we do with that street?
That right
It's
here?
right there. This is the vertical.
Yep. And you see
The
that?
street is this right here on the
Yep,
vertical.
all the way to the railroad tracks.
This is in the right of
That's
way.
a street in their backyard, essentially.
It wouldn't make sense to just abandon it and divide between the two property owners.
That's what I'm here to ask.
I mean, there's no way that's getting developed.
No.
That's a street?
Yeah, because that's.
You can draw
And
anything on a
you
map.
said somebody has.
He's already built in the right of way.
He wants to build a garage.
Got it.
Yeah, the setbacks will not allow him.
Yeah, the erosion.
And the ratio, I do not think will allow him.
Oh, man.
But if we give up that property, split it between the neighbors, and there's another house that's going to be involved in that, he will have enough room to
It'd
build.
be a good opportunity to
Get rid of it.
ratio again.
Yeah, exactly. I hate that ratio thing. Oh, God.
Make a motion to repeal 2024 or 2021-24.
No, that's not what that is.
That's the ratio.
I remember now.
That's fine. I can look up the exact ordinance number.
So, I mean, the street essentially, and I'll have to get Jeff involved, and there's a lot of other things that he'll have to do legality wise to be able, because their deeds will have to be redone and things like that. Now, what cost that goes to, I don't know. If there's a cost to it, I don't know if it goes to the homeowner, does it come to the village? Where does that cost go? I'm sure I'll be asked, but Mr. Faco can tell me all that, I'm sure.
So what,
You older people.
We would make a motion to abandon mechanics.
I would think so.
yeah, because Jeff said you can make an emotion
Then it
anytime.
kind of gets legs of its own
Mhm.
and it's handled by staff. And like the alley next to my house was abandoned after I built my house. Basically, just council saying, we choose to abandon that street or that alley, and then it's resurveyed, redrawn, and half of the that property owner. So I make a motion that we abandon Mechanic Street. Grand Street. I'll formally make a motion.
Form a motion to abandon mechanics.
Mechanic Street.
Who made that motion?
Formally
Okay, and what else did you put, say in that? Abandon and
abandon Mechanic Street north of Granville Street.
North Granville.
Do you need to put in there and divide the property up?
That's generally the rule of thumb.
To adjacent
but
property.
I can add that to the motion if you would like, that we split the right of way equally between adjacent property.
Split right away between owners, right?
Yeah. Now, if one owner doesn't want it and wants the other one to take it all, that would be okay too.
Okay. And then who seconded that? Okay. And then I'll go roll call. Wade, Cosgray?
Yes.
McCreary?
Yes.
Foreman?
Yes. Yes.
Past 5-0. Okay.
Oh, is it fine? No, I'm not done.
He's not done.
I'm not done.
Mine'll be short.
Yeah. I've got a 332 West Jefferson. That is the very end of Jefferson. They got 2.5 acre lot. Those folks are in the stages of building a new home on that property. They have asked the question about what can we do to live in the existing home till the new home is built and then demo the old home after we move into the new home. I cannot find anything in any of our ordinances or anything that tells me, yes, you can, no, you can't. I know I've seen some things in the township where it has happened that they've had to attach the two structures until it's complete and then demo the old structure. It's basically a, yes, they can do it with be demoed in 90 days or 60 days or a year from the time you take possession of the new home. That was the only question was there. So.
I would, how long do they plan on having the home? I mean, how long does it take to build the house?
4 to 6 months.
Okay, so if they build the house in 4 to 6 months and they have to have the demo out in another 6 months. I mean, the whole project has to be done in a year is what I'm thinking.
Because I can attach it to the zoning permit when they apply for the zoning permit, because I haven't applied yet. And it would be that simple, cut and dry. I just didn't know.
The existing house will have to be removed before 1 year, before the 1 year permit expires.
Yeah.
And that's the only concern is that they need both houses and now they have 2 houses.
Exactly. That's the
We're
biggest
just trying to
concern.
avoid
We just
worst
want to
case
make
scenario.
sure, yep.
Yeah. Are you needing a motion?
I
don't know.
don't know on
I
that
don't know.
question.
I don't
I'm not
know.
sure on that one.
Does it need to be an ordinance? That's, no.
No, it wouldn't be an ordinance.
Meredith's caught up.
Which one is this?
They want to build a house and then tear down the old house, but they want to live in the old house until the new house is done. And they're not allowed to have 2 houses on the same parcel.
Can't have 2 houses.
We give them a year to tear down the old house. Or we don't give them an occupancy permit.
Yeah, I don't think that's something that necessarily needs to go through. It's not a zoning variance because they're not keeping the other parcel. It's a condition of getting the permit.
And if they keep both, they're in violation of the zoning ordinance.
Absolutely.
We have a recourse.
And I think a motion by council that if they apply for this demo of the,
Yeah, part of the zoning.
Would be on the zoning permit, yes.
must be done within a year from the date the permitted, the building permit is issued. If it takes them 8 months to build the house, then they got to figure out how to tear the other one down in 4. If they get it all done in 3 months, more power to them.
Right.
But I think a motion would be okay with that.
Oh,
I think she wants the wording for the motion.
no, I'm handing the.
Handing the meeting back to the mayor.
You can have it back.
All right.
If I was gonna say, do I have a motion? But I won't do
Is there a motion?
Foreman makes a motion that we allow the people to build their new house with the requirement that the old house be torn within 1 year of the issuance of the permit.
3 seconds.
All right, motion and second discussion. Hearing none, roll call.
Cosgray?
Yes.
McCreary?
Yes.
Foreman?
Yes.
Schaffner?
Yes.
Reedy?
Yes.
Motion passes.
I think I'm done.
Where we at? VA report?
He's done with the village administrator.
Okay.
So we need fiscal officer.
All right. Fiscal officer.
I have nothing to report.
Jeff is out specific, but would note that there's one piece of new legislation on the agenda for tonight. All right, move on to finance.
Did you say finance, Mayor?
Yeah.
Okay, we did not have a meeting here in February, so our next meeting will be March 13 at 6 o'clock, unless we have to meet before then. Do we, Brian? Anything coming up?
No,
Okay, our next meeting would be March 13 at 6 o'clock.
Thank you, Chuck. Service.
Service met this evening. We had one visitor. He brought the issue about signs. We're gonna take care of that. I guess micro construction is gonna gonna demo the big white building there on the 16th of April. We're still working on the building department for the village and the contract that we passed. And the next meeting will be March 27th at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Safety.
Yes, Mayor, safety met this evening. We continue to have conversations regarding some of the parking on the streets. We talked about some signage possibly being added, but we didn't come up with any definitive solutions at this point. And also we did mention basically, I totally lost my train of thought on this one. We talked about the signage. We talked about, yeah, I've got my notes here. Windows, I'm back to the other.
Moved into demolition.
Oh, yeah, actually, the fee structure. We proposed the fee structure change. The motion was made to take back to council, talking about making it more of a deposit with a partial refund. In lieu of what we have now, it's $300. And that is actually for permit. There is no refund at all.
The initial motion was to do 500 or 400 refund.
Yeah, and I think you said 400 something.
And this for demo permits.
Demo permits.
Yeah, that was the main thing that came out of the meeting.
within a certain specific.
In an effort to facilitate demolition of unwanted structures rather than prevent.
Yeah, and I think key to that was the property owner would have to contact the village for the village to come out and do a formal inspection. And if they don't, then they lose their money and forfeit the deposit. So that's it. And we'll be on March 27th at 6:45.
And rules.
Mayor, we did not meet this month, and our next meeting will be March 13th.
Safety. Who's first?
You missed it.
Yeah. Safety was tonight. so-
We only mentioned a couple of things. So follow up that was discussed. I did let everyone know that John McNally has resigned as a part-time officer with us. He's full-time with Franklin County, has been for some time. And his assignment is such that he's going to resign his position with us. The only thing I failed to mention earlier was that the fire department, police department, and school district, along with, it will be actually EMA from Fairfield County will be the moderator, if you will, for the training. It's going to occur March 14th. And it will involve
Tabletop drill.
yes. Did you know
No, that's awesome.
No, I'm terrible.
They just had one. like
we just had
2
one
weeks
a
ago.
couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And this is kind of continuation of it.
Okay.
To give a more local flavor to it, if you will.
And so I don't know if they did any last year. So the county EMA, they'll do these tabletop drills where they'll bring everybody down there. And this one, when they bring them local, sometimes they design a scenario that is local to that area to get, you know, if I think one year, very newsworthy, I think one year it was a toxic train spill right behind the high school. And the tabletop scenario is who does what when so that you can control as fast as possible. So when they bring them into the communities, that's what they're for. All right.
That's all I have.
Fire district, the minutes got sent out, but anything else?
That's, that was for February. I think that's for February. We will meet again in March 16th.
The minutes I sent out was January. They were January's.
Minutes have not come out yet for February. And the next one will be March 16th.
Planning commission, we met this month. We had 2 variances on. One was approved. One, the committee requested just some follow-up information. The person applying for it had no problem providing it. It just seems there's other isolated issues in the area that they're working on. So the owner has a pond on his land, and people just wanted to make sure what we were doing wasn't going to cause any water issues with the pond primarily. So that's going to be on our agenda for our next meeting. I have also heard that I don't know that it'll be on for the next meeting, but for the development over by the school, from Robert there, the talks are continuing to proceed. They're still working through some issues over there between building and grounds and schools and church and everything, and they're trying to get all the ducks in a row. But he sent me a text the other night that said that things were progressing. But I don't know that that'll be on for our, in fact, I know it will be on for our March meeting. We don't have enough time to notice it. But that is moving along. And our next meeting is March 9th, next Thursday, second Thursday. If there's no questions on that, we're going to tree agenda on that one. The agenda. We have some things to talk about, but we're primarily reconvening. We've got the continued variance. They're going to come back and give us some additional information. Is there one more variance going out for that one?
Mm-hmm.
Just that one? So just that one. Oh. And what the committee has done recently is, depending on how long it takes to discuss the variance, if there's sufficient time to spend some thoughtful time talking about one of the topics we have to talk about, then we'll talk about them. If they look at the clock and they say, well, we want to get out of here in 15 or 20 minutes, they'll just postpone it to the next time. Because as far as zoning goes, there's issues we need to talk about, but nothing that has to get done tomorrow.
I guess I've been asked repeatedly about the fence ordinance, because we discussed changing it so that you didn't need a 1-foot gap on each property line, so you didn't need a 2-foot gap between fences. And I've been asked about that probably a half a dozen times in the last 6 months.
And we brought,
Jeff looked into that.
yeah,
And
We didn't change it to my knowledge.
no, it has not been changed. It's been talked about.
it's been talked about. I think the problem was, I'll have to check with Jeff. Planning and zoning has done it, and I think it fell through the cracks after Terry left, because we had it set for a public hearing.
Yeah, I guess
For a
it's just such
council
a
meeting.
simple thing, but
It's
just
such a simple
put it
thing.
away, and it's like, well, people want to build fence next spring. They're like, wow.
I've been asked that too.
Yeah, okay, see, you asked it.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the only one.
And so we'll figure that out. The worst case scenario is at the next meeting, council can always tacitly give its approval. Yes, we're going to do this, so that no one has to jump through any additional hoops, and we can go do it while we catch the paperwork up. So, okay. Well, Tim's making a note. I'll make a note to follow up with Jeff and we'll get that set. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Tree commission. Did you attend the meeting?
I did.
For that.
I did. Oh, I did.
Here for that.
I did, but I did my notes. You're right. And I got notes somewhere. I may not have one. We did meet. We talked a lot about, I know printing is going to start on the 5th.
March 5th.
Is it March
Yeah,
5th?
because I'm going there.
Okay. Pruning. Beginning at Alt Park and heading this way, and I'm still looking for my notes. A lot of talk about the trees next door to us at their funeral home. There's a lot a lot of talk about that. funeral home trees. They asked me where to take trimmings, and I'm trying to find them instead of just dumping it along the fences where they've always taken them, along the street barn fence, and then we would take them and dispose of them. We might find a different place. It's just one shot and we're done. Then there's
March 5th at 2.
March 5th at 2. Okay. That's what I thought. March 5th.
I'm gonna interrupt here for a second. I also had complaints about mosquitoes out at Ball Park being horrible. So I don't know if it's part of the trees. I don't know.
Wow, haven't gone season.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I don't know that it's right at this moment, but
Me last summer.
yeah,
Oh,
last
wow.
summer and autumn and
Okay.
I don't know that that's trees related, but since you brought it up, when we get the guy to fog for us because Alt Park gets locked, he probably doesn't go back to drive the path.
We didn't go with Sam last year. We went through the county health department.
I mean, whoever does it, the park's locked.
We need to make sure they get into Old Park.
Well,
that night.
we can make sure they get into Oak Park, or we can check the health department. They will also do these things they call dumps. And it's basically the fogging stuff, but they can put it in areas that gets a little wet
yeah.
and stagnant. And it'll go out, and when the flies, mosquitoes drink it, it kills them, it kills the larvae. It not as good as fogging, but they use it where they can't get foggers too. And so that might be an option to look at.
That would be a hundred for the kids.
I think where they put it stuff, I don't think it's an issue. That's one of the questions we'll have to ask and find out.
Okay.
I know they put them along, wet fields and culverts and areas where they get mosquitoes that they can't necessarily or don't always fog. And last year they actually had a program, that for people that needed them, they would just come out and put them in areas. So, we'll make a note to do that. But I didn't even think about the guy not getting back to Oak Park. Yeah. I mean, it makes it around Johnson Park because there's road right there, but
John, anything to interrupt?
if we know what night he's coming through. Okay.
Even if it's like for a week. You know,
Well, they usually give us like a 2 days notice of when they're going to be.
So setting it up, we not there, let mention that.
Set it up or leave it unlocked because they come through at a certain time and whoever at the end of the shift can go in and close it. Yep. Okay. All right. Anything else for trees? Records Commission, we have nothing.
But can
Do we have to destroy documents?
we're piling up back here and I've got the list. I added to the list that I created last year.
Okay.
So we need to do
You,
something.
me, and Jeff need to sit down and pick a date that works for everybody.
Yes,
And your dad.
yes.
Okay.
Because the lawn, I mean, we got it.
Can you send us out an email tomorrow? Sure. We need to schedule Records Commission meeting. And we'll get that on the calendar.
Yes, because Missy and I have boxed up a lot of records. They store back here, they're piling up. They have destroyed 2022, 2023. We
Does any of it have to go to the historical society?
what happens is I have a list, and they're mainly like
I just-
vouchers and receipts from the last. Okay, from 2018 and 19, that can be destroyed now. We keep them 3 years, and they can be destroyed after that, as long as they've been audited. I have the list. Once the Records Commission approves to be destroyed, I send that to the Historical Society, so they look at it and they approve it. Then they send it to the State Auditor's Office to make sure they're okay with it. And then I get the approval. Then I set up a date to have, I think, Community Action come down at a location, and they just everything.
Now we get a certificate that it's all been properly.
Yeah, we got some things. There's a file cabinet there that I discovered. I'm like, oh God, we got to get this on the list. So,
Okay.
I've got a list.
All right, shoot us an email tomorrow and we'll get a date set. All right, motion. Motion. Ordinances. First ordinance then is ordinance 2023-02, an ordinance to amend village's 2021-2022 pay plan to reflect increase in pay range for the position of administrator, declaration of emergency. No sponsor on this, but I believe, Rick, didn't you make that oral motion?
I did make the motion. I can sponsor that.
Okay. All right, so this is up, sponsored is for minute. Carries emergency language that just means it goes into effect upon passage. You guys can pass it tonight, or we can leave it on for a second reading.
I think we should leave it on.
That'll work. Everybody got the attachment. I think it's the highlighted part,
Yeah.
so, all right. So we will leave that on.
With this, just the way making an offer to anyone. If we don't.
No one's been nominated yet, so I don't know if Princess making one offer.
That's true. It hasn't been, so it would be, because council then has to approve, so you can approve it tonight. And we just know the pay range is kind of what it is, so approving those at the same time. Okay. Good question. So we'll leave that on for second reading. We'll be on March. What's our next date? March 13th. All right, no second readings, no third readings, no tabled ordinances, old business. Hearing none, new business.
Mayor, I have one. You had that Boy Scout in here tonight, and he was
Yeah.
gonna make signs for the school.
What's
What's the official name for LU school? Is it LUT or just LU?
Technically, it's Liberty Union Thurston School District.
Yeah, I thought maybe we should. I know when I went to school, some of the kids from Thurston, they thought they were left out. So shouldn't it be LU/T?
I don't think the school uses a T anymore.
I don't
think any of the school logos have it on it anymore. We can check.
I'm just bringing that up. Just.
I'll check with the school and see what that is.
Okay.
Tim
that's-
actually talked with them about the signs, but yeah, I don't know what school. is.
They couldn't put the T on it anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Their checks, they write us a check periodically for school, and it says Liberty Union Thurston Local School
Well,
District.
the official district
Name,
name is
though.
Liberty.
With their logo, I don't think it is. Like when you see the lion and the, I was just telling you.
Yeah, I believe you're right. But I'll verify that, yeah.
Yeah. So, they're a DBA.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, someone else said they had another new business.
Oh, whole business.
Whole business, okay.
And where are we with the VA?
We got a bunch of applications, and so I can have you a nomination at the next meeting.
You nominate and then we vote.
Correct,
We vote it down, then you have to nominate.
correct.
And so then we do that. Okay. I just had to know the process.
Is there a time when we are able to interview prior to nomination?
What do you mean?
We're being asked to vote and I don't have any firsthand conversations or knowledge of this person we're voting on, so I don't know how to vote other than no, unless we've had an opportunity to have a conversation with the nominee prior to the nomination.
You think of it like cabinet appointments. Nomination comes up, then you guys can you invite them in for an executive session
Before we vote.
before you vote. Absolutely.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like, here's the nomination at 8:02 and you got to vote at 8:04. No,
Okay.
you'll have it, and then you'll have an opportunity to.
So you're gonna choose one, and that'll be, we'll talk in the executive session, and then we vote. You're not gonna choose one or two or three, it's gonna be one.
Right.
Okay.
I'll put forward one name.
Are we clear, because I know we're not, on how we are structuring this? Because I thought at the last meeting that we sort of all agreed to follow your plan for the two people. And apparently I was wrong about that. And, so it's difficult for me to understand how we can interview and hire and appoint someone and interview them and say okay to them if we don't know if we're gonna have two, if we're gonna have one,
I thought how, my understanding of how we left it was essentially how it was before. We have a VA. And then once we get that VA in, we then work on the deputy exec, whatever we're going to call it, that position. Because the VA needs to be A, involved in that, and B, very involved in the selection of that person who's going to be their right-hand person. So my impression where we left it was it's pretty much what we had 6 months ago. We have a VA, and we're going to get that person started and in place, and then move on to the second part once they're in. Because they found that additional administrative assistant position that we hired, or what it was, but we were going to get the VA in place first. I think everybody said, yes, we need someone else. We just don't know what that is until we get that VA in place.
That's the way I understood it, and I thought the VA then, based upon the VA skills, that would help to determine the skills that are going to be needed for that secondary position. That's the way I took it.
That was.
I can see why you're confused.
And I guess my secondary concern to that is if we don't know really what we're hiring until we hire the first person, then it seems difficult to establish a salary for the first person. Depending on, because if we're gonna hire.
Well, I mean, your VA is essentially your COO. They are in charge of everything. So any job that falls, they are responsible for everybody else in the village.
And
It all
it depends
falls
on their
on-
qualifications.
Yeah, and that's one reason we need to talk to them before we
Yeah.
can say yes or no, because we want to know how much they need or want,
Because,
and two, what they have, what their capability.
Right.
and it's such divergent areas of expertise required. You get construction and utilities on one hand, and office administration, business on HR stuff on the other hand. You know, but you get one person that's ultimately responsible for all. So ideally, whoever that person is, hire someone in to help complement where they don't have all of the skill set.
I understand that. It seems awkward to me because I just feel like we haven't talked about, well, I guess it doesn't matter if you're just going to appoint them, but we haven't talked about who we think. It seems to me, and maybe this is the problem, it seems to me that it would have been helpful if we would have all sat down as a group, gone through these people and talked about them, you know, to get an idea of, you know, who would be available, how we could balance things out. I guess maybe one of my concerns is hire somebody with A, B, and C skills, and then you can't find, and then they have D, E, and F skills, and you can't find that secondary person. That's one of my concerns.
You can't find that secondary person, you don't have that person as the primary person either.
Yeah.
So, you know, those skills, if they're not available for a secondary person, there's no saying that someone with those skills will be available.
But there may be somebody who has more skills than another person, but without thinking it through, you might like this person for another reason. So it just seems strategically to me to weigh everybody out and to talk about, you know, what you like about their resume, what you don't like about their resume, what you, how you see, like I had submitted a scenario, you know, what kind of scenarios. And that's just.
I mean, has everybody kind of read through everything that's been given? I know I have. I think
And
everybody's really looked them over.
they vary greatly.
Wildly.
I mean, it's not really funny, but yeah.
No, I mean, many, I'd say half.
So that I-
Right on it, right on it.
Yeah.
And more than
No
that.
pile.
Yeah, so,
No.
I mean, I personally was down to a very small list, I think. And I guess it's just basically waiting to see if who's nominated is even on the list.
Right.
And going from there, so I'm not concerned about it, I just think we need to.
Give it two. That's what I was gonna say. If we're gonna appoint, then.
Yeah, I
think we should go on.
I felt like the 5 weeks between meetings was.
Well, yeah.
Sorry, guys, I had to go.
I know.
You wouldn't have wanted me in here.
Wade was out,
All over you.
Chunk's out of town,
Okay,
Wade
I
was
knew
out of
two,
town,
but I
Randy,
didn't know we had.
yeah, Randy was sick, so we've only been the three of you.
Okay, I knew the two, I didn't know whether, I never heard anything.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
see.
so that was, so, let me see if I, yeah, so.
You do nominations at. When you do it rules or you do it council?
Which one?
Nominate someone.
2 weeks from now. Okay. Done. Nomination. And, I mean, we're gonna end up interviewing an executive. Is it best to have executive at the end of the meeting, just because other people have to be here for the meeting?
Yeah.
And then we go back into session and vote? Yep. Okay, I think we just got the process, all right?
Right,
Okay, you done?
over there.
Cool, we're there. I just looked up Liberty Union's website, and Liberty Union Thurston School, local schools, but their logo is LU.
Yep.
So. Alright. Any other old business? Any other new business?
Yes. I just wanted to provide an update, went to the, I think it was determined at the meeting, at least this is what was thrown out there, the businesses of Baltimore. So there was a business meeting that was held at the Opera House. And it was a very good discussion, a lot of things came out of it, but two of the main items that came from that meeting, they talked about they proposed wanting to have a handicap parking space placed in front of the farmhouse cafe.
Well, so this is part of the bigger downtown parking issue. And one of the things I threw out, we're gonna have another meeting at the end of March to hopefully get more business in. What I threw out was, basically shared services. The church uses the parking lot on Wednesdays and Sundays. Why can't it be public parking the rest of the time? And if the village maybe has to pony up a little cash for signs to help with that, maybe that's the partnership that's there. But then people can walk to the farmhouse and to the pint house and to Crino's and whatever Robert puts in here, and to Juniper and Ivy and the bakery. Because there's a lot of parking spots downtown. They're just all private. You know, the bank is a good example of one, and they're just all around here, but a lot of them are within a short walk, and it could help. Again, a parking problem is a good problem to have, but it's one that I can do myself. So we started throwing it out there, and the farmhouse in particular mentioned that they would like that because they only have on-street parking. I'll get back to them in a second. Representative from the Now Church was there and said that they have their own hierarchy they have to go through to get those approved, but he wasn't opposed to the idea because it does help get people down. The farmhouse in particular asked because they've got the street parking, that they are going to begin doing Meals on Wheels. And so they wanted to have access closer on street. Yeah, it might be something easier to send to safety to discuss in more depth, because it takes away an on-street parking for everybody else, but it does provide a handicap parking, not only for the business, but the church across the street. But there is the safety concern.
Van, like accessible, that's hard for a wheelchair to go out.
Well, having lived on that street a long time, coming out of Walnut and onto, Market is difficult. So they need to keep it back. Maybe yellow, something, like we were before, but it's a difficult place too. So be careful, but yeah, maybe they do need a handicap spot.
One reserved is minimum, one or two is what they want.
Well, I know, like in my experience, that maybe putting the handicap right in the absolute closest position isn't necessarily best for everyone. Because it kind of sits there empty all the time, and a lot of the time, and it kind of offends or upsets other customers too. I mean, it's good to have one, but I ended up moving mine away from the door a little bit just because they just sat there empty or they were parked in violation most of the time. And so I spoke a little bit with the owner, with Maria, and she seemed indifferent about it, honestly.
Well, yeah, and when I talk to them, because they understand what they are asking for. They are asking for, in an area where there is not parking, a parking spot to more or less be eliminated, except for a very small subset of people. So they are very reasonable with that. But you bring up another good point about that, and maybe if it is moved a little closer and it sits empty, that helps other areas. Maybe we should put that on safety so we can have more in-depth conversation.
Because I'm almost thinking it should be on that side street rather than on the main.
Maybe across the street. instead.
Yeah.
I was gonna say across the street, but there's a parking lot, a parking spot at the church.
So what's on
If
safety?
we get a shared agreement, that could work out very well. So,
How would that be shared? It's a public road. Why does?
oh, you're talking the road spot.
Oh, no, I'm talking about on the
You're talking
road.
about on street.
You were on street. I was talking about parking lot.
Oh, yeah, that's different.
Which they probably have them already, I would guess.
I would think.
Parking is in the church's place.
Where are you talking about? Handicap spot?
Well,
Yeah,
I think what we should do is put it on safety.
Okay. The farmhouse cafe
Handicap
parking?
Parking at Farmhouse Cafe.
Okay.
Put on the safety's agenda.
No particular street
Yeah.
spot or
We just need
location.
to-
Just, okay. We just needed a clarification.
Nothing's
Okay.
been.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing, because we'll need to look at it. Police department will have to
Okay.
give some insight.
Yeah, so a lot of the discussions that night encompassed parking, which then also brings me to striping the parking spaces on Main Street. That was something else that was brought up.
The argument there, and this might be we just decide real quick, the argument there was Main Street's not striped, Market Street's striped, and so people more or less park within their designated areas, depending on who parks where, when, on Main Street, all the way up to the top of the hill and going down this way, you might get 5 cars in there, you might get 10 cars in there, depending on how they're parked, and then striping the parking spots might help. That is something though, if we do, it's an ODOT road, and then we have to, the reason we want to bring it up now is because there's the setting fees or whatever they call it when the stripers come in, the mobilization fee, that's what it is, to bring them in. So we try to do all the striping at once. So if it's something we think that is good and should do, we can go ahead and put it on the list. If it's something that should go to safety or service to further evaluate, we can do that. We've got a little bit of time. We just want to get it on there out for discussion, so that we're not, oh yeah, let's do this. Oh, they were here in May and we'll have to pay another $3,000 or $5,000 mobilization fee. And I can see the arguments both ways for it. So we guys, safety again.
For here tonight, we're just pumping the safety, I think.
Safety, all right.
Striping
on Main Street.
Main Street.
Business district. Anything else? Okay. That next meeting will be March 26th. I'll have letters going out to all the downtown businesses again later this week or early next week, inviting them, but putting more of the parking, hopefully,
When did you say the notice? I'm sorry.
March 28th, next Tuesday. So more people came to this last meeting than the first meeting, so hopefully more and more people. Sure. Yeah. Open meeting upstairs. I try to start them around 6 o'clock, so that it's right towards the end of the business day, so people don't go home and have to come back. So, and it sounded like a lot of the businesses were kind of pining for a chamber type again. And it sounded like a couple of them were interested in at least getting together and talking more. We're a long way from having another chamber, but some of the ideas they had, they're going to start talking about amongst themselves because they're mutually beneficial. So
We have some young,
yeah,
new blood in town. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
We should support.
Yep. And that's why I said, it's like, village can't do that, but we're here. We'll keep having these meetings until that gets off
It's
the
on
ground.
legs.
Yep. Yep. All right. So it's the Tuesday after our last council meeting. So it'll be the March 28th. Any other new business? All right, any last call?
Okay, I think we felt the need to go into executive session tonight.
Okay,
And discuss employment matters.
okay,
And I think we just really want like, Brian?
Yeah.
Be the executive session.
okay.
Do we need to vote on that?
You need a motion and a second? Yep.
Before we make a motion, we're going into executive session, including all council, the mayor, and fiscal officer.
And I will read the seconds.
All right. One clarification, since it's employment matters. I assume it's not about him, otherwise we should invite him to at least talk about it. But since he's interim VA, do we need him to stick around in case there's anything afterwards, or are we good to excuse him for the night as well?
We're good to excuse me.
Yeah.
right?
We got a motion. Hold on, guys, you're not done yet.
Here we go.
All right. It's the man with handcuffs can tell me he's done and walked out. The guy in the room can tell you that. All right, roll call.
Cosgray?
Yes.
McCreary?
Yes.
Foreman?
Yes.
Schaffner?
Yes.
Reedy?
Yes.
All right, we will go into executive session in just a minute for those that actually listen online, because there are a few. The streaming will be stopped. Chuck will stay on because he's included with council. The streaming will be stopped. It'll only be recorded.
How do I?
Taken
Stop the video?
up early. Action to be taken.
Stop the video?
No, don't stop the video. Stop the recording. YouTube.